me an outfit
tonight in Los Angeles. I guess it probably would. As Luka and the Lakers welcome the Hornets, fans in LA will get to see Luka Doncic's third game in purple and gold. But LeBron is questionable with a foot injury that kept him out of Sunday's All-Star game. The Lakers are now within a half game of the number 4 seed and home court advantage in the first round with 30 regular season games left on their schedule. And we are so happy to be joined by Anscape senior writer David Dennis Jr. So the Lakers, they're 12.5-point favorites tonight. Let's talk about big picture, though. What do you want to see from Luka, LeBron, and this LA team as they round into playoff form?
Yeah, I want to see Luka and LeBron do something that they've never really done in their careers, and that's win without bigs. They need to win small. All respect to Jackson Hayes, all respect to Alex Len. They just do not have interior presence. And that means that Luka is going to need to step up defensively. LeBron is going to need to play bigger. And they may even need to play at a faster pace than Luka or LeBron are used to. Because I do not know how else they're going to be able to survive when they play some of these bigs in the West. Yes, they have the Hornets coming up in a couple of easy games. But on Saturday, they play the Denver Nuggets, and they play Jokic. And when you're playing somebody like Jokic, you're going to have to figure out how to stop him. Nobody in the league can, and you certainly can't stop him without those bigs. They have to figure out how to win some other way.
Yeah, they're going to have to do that, especially because they're in the Western Conference. You mentioned the Joker, also Chet Holmgren at OKC. So LA will be tested in the second half. They have the 6th toughest remaining strength of schedule, but the Lakers, they're not the only team facing second half issues. It's time to debut David's Dilemma. What other questions across the league do you want answered?
So first, let's start in the Eastern Conference. You have Cleveland, you have Boston. They are far and above better than everybody else. Cleveland 5.5 games up. Everybody's assuming Boston is going to, be in that mix. What other teams in the East are going to make some noise and crack those top two? The Knicks, their offense is stellar, but their defense giving up the 6th most points in the paint right now. You have Milwaukee. Are they going to figure out with Giannis? Maybe even a young team like Orlando can get, since they're healthy, can maybe do something. But it's really Cleveland, Boston, and everybody else. Everybody else is going to have to figure it out. Now, let's talk about San Antonio. They may not be a team that's going to be in the playoff push this year, but I'm so excited with this team and what they've added with the Aaron Fox. This is my League Pass cheat team that I watch every single time that they play because they're so exciting. Of course, you have Wemby, who is the future of the league, and now you've added De'Aaron Fox, who is a great clutch player. I want to see how they gel and what that means for the future of this team. Now, let's talk spoilers in the Western Conference. A possible spoiler is a team that nobody is talking about really, and that's the Clippers. The Clippers, I know a lot of teams they've disappointed us with the Paul George, with the Kawhi injuries, but Norman Powell is one of the unspoken great players this season, the way he stepped up. Kawhi is getting healthier. Ben Simmons is there to play some wing defense. Dude, you do not want to play a Clippers team when they're playing their best, especially if you're a young team like Houston or Memphis. They could be an early round spoiler that not a lot of people are talking about.
I was going to say a lot of people aren't talking about it because we don't really expect that from the Clippers often, but we'll see what they're able to do in the playoffs. David, great to see you. Thank you.
I am reincarnated. I was stargazing. Life goes on, honey, and all my babies.
Here is Durant for the win.
Woke up looking for the Barkley. High key, keep a horn on me. That could my seat.
Durant fires. Bang!
Mr. Get Off, I get off at my feet.
Here comes Durant to the basket, launches and fires it down.
I know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant.
Being one of the game's most gifted scorers ever has brought Kevin Durant a long list of accolades. League MVP, 15 All-Star selections, 2 NBA championships, and 2 Finals MVPs. But respectively, the future Hall of Famer is now on the back 9 of his career. KD was the talk of the trade deadline, and his future in Phoenix remains murky past this season. Malika Andrews sat down with the Suns superstar to talk his legacy and basketball future.
The Warriors have been seriously pursuing Kevin Durant over the last week.
You don't want to go back to a place where you won 2 championships and you had some success. There has to be a reason why he doesn't want to go back there, because we've seen how it worked. We've seen he had success.
I don't know, with these talks, I don't know if KD can go back to Phoenix knowing that he was discussed out there.
One thing is clear around the league right now, and that's Kevin Durant does not want to go back to the Warriors in any trade.
You've had a heck of a 2 weeks here. Coming back to Oakland is something that was sort of floated, and I just wanted to read you this quote from Steve Kerr. He said, "I don't blame Kevin one bit for not wanting to rerun things here. He took so much for oh, you're jumping on the bandwagon, and then he's the finals MVP 2 years in a row, and he still gets criticized. Why would he want to face all that BS again?" What do you think of that?
People talk crazy about me all the time, that's not the reason why I didn't want to come back. I just didn't want to get traded midway through the season, and it was nothing against my time with the Warriors, or I heard because I don't like Draymond. At the end of the day, I just didn't want to move, and I wanted to see it through with my team in Phoenix and see what we could do the rest of the season. So I'm glad I'm still there.
How does the second half of the season shape your outlook for even beyond this year? Moving mid-season is one thing. Moving in the summer is maybe something else.
You got to ask front office about that. I never planned on leaving or moving Phoenix, getting traded. I didn't ask for a trade from Phoenix. But obviously, when you pay so much for a team and we're not playing up to our expectation, and somebody has to go, So, you probably should check in with those guys in the front office throughout the rest of the season and see how they feel about the team. I know that I'm going to keep trying to bring my best every single day, and I let the higher-ups focus on what's next.
Oh, what a move by Durant.
But for those waiting for Kevin Durant to slow down, KD Trey is still a bucket.
One of the top 10 players to ever play the game of basketball.
You've been a part of big threes, big fours, whatever you want to call them. How do you reflect on what you have built and are trying to build in Phoenix?
We expect a lot out of ourselves individually, and it just hasn't materialized the way we wanted to. It was disappointing to see us play this way, and our fans and people who are watching the game want more from us, but we can't think about that. We got to think about the day ahead of us and trying to get better and, figure out how we're going to win the next game and go on from there.
You're in year 17. Somehow the time has gone by that fast. Do you think about how much longer you want to do this, that you want to play?
Yeah, I think about it all the time. We're in a young man's game, and I hear about my age every day, but I'm still having fun preparing for games, preparing for practices, and being a teammate, being a coach who I still enjoy all that stuff. So I don't see an end right now, but it could happen, it could not, but I'm just locked in on the next day.
Anything about the legacy you want to leave on the game? When people say Kevin Durant, you're one of the greats. What do you want people to say?
I just want you to respect the game. I want you to have fun watching my game, because if you pull up footage, 20 years from now, I want you to really enjoy those 3 or 4 minutes you watching me play. And hopefully when they look at me, they can see that somebody who has a growth mindset, who's been expanding his game since day one. Some people want to be looked at as a worker, to be honest. Somebody that's going to come in here and do what's required to help the team. Everything else after that is just icing on top.
Great job there by Luka. So whenever KD walks away, he will do so with one of the most decorated trophy cases in basketball history. Durant is one of 4 players to win multiple NBA championships, Finals MVP awards, and Olympic gold medals. The other 3, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James.
Got us some good company, as is Mark Spears, who joins us now. And Mark, we just heard from Kevin Durant about the trade deadline, everything that went around it. What more can you tell us about why he was unhappy with the way this all played out?
Well, definitely believe what he told Malika. I think the problem was it wasn't slow walk to him. A guy like Kevin Durant can't hear this in the rumor mill and have one of his buddies say, hey, man, you're in this rumor trade talk. I think if the Warriors were able to slow walk it to Rich Kleiman, his right-hand guy, and say, hey, we're thinking about this. Can you talk to Kevin? I think perhaps that might have sold it to Kevin better. But for some reason, it got leaked out. The Suns didn't approach Kevin, so it was a shock to him. And so I think ultimately that played a big role in him not going there, as the way it was presented to him could have been much better.
Yeah, and you do wonder, too, because this Phoenix team is so talented. You wonder how that'll play now in the second half of the season with the team that, candidly should be in the playoff mix in the Western Conference. And I mentioned the second half beginning. I want to play a little game with you, okay? We're going to go through it's like an NBA box score. It's going to be point, rebound, steal, and block for the second half. So, who is going to make a point in the second half?
The reigning NBA champion Boston Celtics. I talked to Jason Tatum in late January, and I asked him point blank if he was bored with the process, trying to repeat, and he said definitely not. They learned their lesson after losing to the Warriors the next year when they fell short, so they're definitely mentally focused. And if you look at the way they played in February, they've been 5-1. So, no, I think they're definitely going to make a point this second half.
Yeah, and look, all the first half struggles, say what you want. The second half and the title run's all that matters to them. That's a good pick. But who is a team or a player that's going to rebound in the second half?
Yeah, probably a little surprising to you, the Orlando Magic. I'm picking them. They got off to a great start and then just got hampered by injuries with Banchero and Wagner. Both their stars are back now, healthy. Banchero said he was going to spend much of the All-Star break getting back into that form. Warriors scored a 50-piece, so keep an eye on them, but they need to get Jalen Suggs back.
I like this next question. Which team currently not in the top 8 will steal a playoff spot?
Well, Draymond told you they're going to win a championship, didn't he? So, I mean, hey, they have to steal this. I'm told that the Warriors are extremely happy with Jimmy Butler so far in terms of scoring and getting to the free throw line, but they want more from him. I think they want he and Curry to be averaging close to 30 points a game. So keep an eye on these Warriors with Kuminga coming back soon.
And could the Suns maybe be one of those teams that get in there and steal a spot as well? And finally, who could block the Cavs or Celtics in the East from making the finals?
You have to say the New York Knicks. That guy right there, Jalen Brunson, has had a sensational season. And Karl Anthony Towns, best season of his career in New York, the big bodega. He's averaging 24, 13, and 3. Very, very happy playing at home. And they're a very, very scary team in the Garden, outside the Garden. Keep an eye on these Knicks.
If they play a little bit of defense, you could argue there isn't a better offensive team in the league. They've had 5 games of over 140 points. We know they can score. Yeah. Can they D it up? We'll find out. Great stuff, Mark Spears. Thank you.
Thank you.
The league gets back in action after the All-Star break tonight with the Lakers hosting the Hornets. It's a matchup of the game that was postponed due to the LA wildfires. LeBron James is questionable with a foot issue that kept him out of the All-Star game, so we'll see if we get to see him and Luka together. Sports betting analyst Aaron Dolan is in the building with us now. So, Aaron, when you think about the second half of the season, what is a Lakers bet that you like right now?
So I'm looking at them to win the West at plus 700. Now, is this the best value? Not necessarily, considering the number continues to move in favor of the Lakers. It went from 9-1 to 7-1, but I still think this is worth a play. Reason being, the Lakers are sitting there right in that 5th spot in the Western Conference, but I do think they're going to make a better push, knowing their offense is going to get better, and that comes down to Luka Doncic. This is also a guy who averaged 29 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists last year in the postseason. And yes, I know that was with Dallas, but he essentially ran through the Clippers, OKC, Minnesota, which, by the way, don't forget, Minnesota had one of the best defenses last season. So knowing he's going to be on that roster come the postseason and the Lakers defense is starting to improve, I'll look at them to win the West at plus 700.
Luka giving them a little bump. That's what we expected, though. Aaron, thank you very much.